Before I get started, I'd like to begin by speaking about what I think it means to be a good priest and what makes this man my priest hero. Priesthood is the love of the heart of Jesus. This means that priests must strive to love people in the same way that Jesus did. The priest must be the one to bring the love of Jesus into the world. To love with the heart of Jesus means to deny yourself. The priest who I consider my priest hero, and on whom I would like to speak this evening, is the same man who likes to remind me that he first entered seminary when I was 9 years old. Father Daniel Good was ordained a priest on June 12, 2010. I met Father Dan the morning of the Chrism Mass, my senior year in high school. This was still a few months before his ordination, even to the diaconate. I had just recently been accepted as a seminarian and was standing in the sacristy when this rather large, red-headed man burst into the sacristy in a cassock while chugging a Red Bull with two under his arm. He then screamed at me and said, "Hi, I'm Dan Good. Are you the new guy?" He immediately dispelled all thoughts and preconceptions that I had of priests and seminarians. He didn't seem rather pious at the moment. He showed me that day that he was a real human person and not some super spiritual entity. Father Dan had a personality that was not suppressed in the name of holiness. Since then, I've spent a significant amount of time with Father Dan, able to witness how he carries himself and brings Jesus to those to whom he ministers. I've heard countless embarrassing stories about Father Dan from Archbishop Brody, and have seen how his priesthood has taken his life. Father Dan has one of the most compassionate hearts that I've ever encountered. As the high school chaplain, he completely pours himself out daily for the over 1,000 McGill-Tulane Catholic high school students. Periodically, he'll pull them out of class into his office for so-called spiritual check-ins and to write spiritual prescriptions, which just consist of talking about how their life is going and telling them what they should pray, but with a fancy doctor's signature on it. Through these spiritual check-ins, Father Dan comes to know, love, and communicate his love to those students. He continually is coming up with new ways to ministering to them and getting them involved with the faith. One of the ways of bringing them to Jesus is through the knowledge of the teaching of Blessed John Paul II's theology of the body. He has attended many conferences, national even, and spoken at some of them. He's currently writing a book on the theology of the body, The Redemption of the Body in the Theology of the Body. I was supposed to promote it tonight, but since he decided not to come, don't buy it. It's pretty awful. Father Dan is a man who strives at all times to be Jesus in the world today. He's a man of humble obedience, accepting countless of responsibilities under obedience from the Archbishop, as the chaplain of McGill-Tulane Catholic High, the parochial vicar of a parish, working in the tribunal part-time, and that's just to name a few. But amidst all of this, he's even continuing his education to become a canon lawyer. And somehow, on top of even going to school, when I'm at home, he even finds time to be my spiritual director, which, as Father Gitter could attest to, is a full-time job. It is often said that when you find your vocation, you become more of the person that God created you to be. When Father Dan was ordained a priest, he ran back into the sacristy and, in a kind of a giddy mood, exclaimed, "I'm a priest. I finally feel comfortable in my own skin." That has really stuck with me ever since then. And I've actually spent a lot of time in prayer over those words that he spoke. And through meditating on his words and on what the Sacred Heart is in prayer, I've come to realize that my vocation can be summed up by one thing. It's what I feel like I was created to be. It's the heart that I feel like Jesus has given to me. The reason I tell all these stories is because they point to why I see Father Daniel Good as my priest hero. He lays down his life daily for the people of God, for the people that God has entrusted to his care. Daily, he picks up his cross to follow our Lord. But through all this death to self, he has become more of himself. He has not given into the lie that to die to oneself means to be something that you're not. Father Dan is fighting for holiness, but using the unique path that God set him on. To conclude, I would like to share one of those stories that Archbishop Brody likes to tell. When Father Dan was in college seminary in St. Joseph's in Louisiana, there was a night on which him and a few friends, Ryan Adorjan, you'll appreciate this, they decided to go to Chili's. Unbeknownst to them, the group in the booth behind them was Bishop Rody of Biloxi and the Vicar General of Biloxi. The conversation, as you can imagine, was very college-like, as Father Dan and his buddies decided that they were going to discuss what's wrong with the church, how they're going to personally fix it, and what religious order they're going to establish and what rules they're going to set up. Archbishop Brody affectionately remembers looking at the Vicar General and saying, "Thank God he's Mobile. I'll never have to deal with him again." Lo and behold, in June of 2012, Archbishop Brody ordained him. Now, as you can all see, and as we like to joke around, Father Daniel Good is quite a Dan Good priest. Praise be Jesus Christ.